All right, everybody, we're back with round three, and it's a good one, folks. This is two of the best players in North America, bar none. Austin Shin and Conrad Bassett-Bouchard, two players that routinely rate in the top in North America and top in the world. Players that have won championships, each of them. This is going to be a really high-level match, Ben.
Yeah, Boston just took his second college championship in North America this past year. Conrad, the 2014 national champion, and Austin looked 1-1, which is a bit of a surprise, but anything could happen. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a great game here.
So Austin going first. I have a quick prediction. It's going to run 2 minutes. Hopefully you guys are able to get in your predictions here. I don't want it to go too long in case Austin draws an opening bingo and you guys all bet on that. But even if that happens, Conrad, one of the cleverest players out there in terms of managing the board, getting himself in position to make comebacks. And wow, what an interesting rack here for Austin to start the game.
Very strong lead for Austin. I think he just wants to play QI and keep.
Yeah, I think, Chi is.
Exchange Q is very tempting, but I don't think you need to do that.
22 points for Chi here, and you do keep 5 really good tiles for bingoing. It's really important to note that these players' bingo knowledge is just going to be nearly complete. Their mastery of the dictionary, pretty unparalleled. Very unlikely to see too many missed bingos in this game. So Austin holding those nice low point tiles with the S and the E. He's very likely to bingo. As a comment that makes me happy in the chat from Robert Collison. Never thought I'd be watching professional Scrabble. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy it. It really is a crazy thing to watch players at this level play Scrabble this way. It is a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy it. But thank you for stopping by. So Conrad has a nice rack of his own. But what to do with it after Chi? It's not a very easy board to score on. I wonder what he'll opt to do.
Maybe just Mike MYC. Yep. Just doesn't do that much after that opening play.
It's interesting to note that just MY, as Dynamite suggests, would set up his C, and that is still it's not going to prevent Austin from bingoing. Thanks, Wei Bin. Thanks, Wei Bin, for the Austin. So Austin Shin, a monthly streamer on this channel as well. So you may recognize him from that. So Austin's been a great partner for all these sorts of efforts, and is a key member of the organizing team for Crescent City Cup. And he's also a tremendously good player. So a lot going on for Austin. But Conrad, too, has a laundry list of accomplishments a mile long. So, what to do? So some suggestion of Mike, also a suggestion of just I think I don't mind tacking the C on here. But either way, a suggestion that Austin may be playing Mislearnt, which would be a very amazing play down from the MI on the board after Mike. It looks like that's what Conrad is prepping to play. So Austin may get a chance to flex that word knowledge that we were talking about.
Yeah, either way, I just don't see any. I just don't think it's very likely that Conrad makes a play that doesn't involve MI there, which is unfortunate for him. You could play something, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Hello to Bowlington, who asks, what are the players' ratings? I think, it's difficult to know which rating system we're going to measure them in, but definitely both well over 2,000 rated players here. Within the NASPA rating system, I think both players are over 2,100 rating. And within WESPA rating, both are well over 2,000 as well. So these are two true elite players that we're watching here.
Oh, he's looking at Zymek, which is
another
decent option.
That's a good choice here, frankly. If he goes that direction, I would not consider that to be a mistake compared to Mike or anything like that. It's very, very defensive. That is a hallmark of Conrad's style, and he is going to play Zymic here, which really, even this does not stop Austin from bingoing, but it does perhaps the most to restrict his bingo options. The only bingo he has here is centrals, which puts an S into triple lane. In fact, I think it's likely that, given that that's his only bingo, and he also has a play through the Z of Ranzel's.
Oh, yeah. That
for 64 points.
Ranzel's
so this word, archaic, very archaic word that, again, a lot of archaic words in the Collins Dictionary played by the rest of the world and by the Collins contingent here in North America. But Austin's going to know that word for sure. Both players will. So, yeah, 4-letter extensions to Zymic. Oh, that would torment me all game. I don't really. Okay, so there Zooglia lists out some of the extensions. None of them actually fit on the board in a satisfying way. So what is Austin thinking here? I wonder. He's got Sternal set up. He's probably wondering how Conrad managed to restrict his options so much on that opening move. Sorry, let's give Conrad his points for Zymic here. So the score 22-21, still very early. So, yeah, I mean, Austin with this rack, you see Sternal on the rack. He had antlers, a bunch of other stuff, rentals, all of which Conrad was able to block with his last play. So that's very Conradly to do that. And Conrad's got a good rack as well, Ben.
Yes. If Austin plays his bingo, he's going to give dialers and dalliers as options for Conrad. I don't see anything off the top of my head if he just plays Ranzel. And that makes Conrad's rack a lot more awkward because it doesn't really have that much scoring potential.
Yeah. So this would be. So I wonder what Austin is thinking here. He set his rack up for Sternal, which doesn't really fit anywhere. So really, it does, from his perspective, it really boils down to just playing from the C or playing through the Z. There are no 7-letter bingos playable here. Oh, there we go. So from Noah's, I see. Good call by Noah SL44. He's considering a Zymic.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Oh, wow. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. That would easily be a relevant consideration here, and that would explain why he's taking so much time here. Oh, okay. So this, I even feel like I detected a little bit of a head nod from Austin as he played that. Conrad's going to challenge it, and I'm sure he's challenging it in part because he played Zymic, I'm sure, thinking that it did not take any hooks, and he's going to have to challenge this, and it's going to be good news for Conrad here. The only question is, how is he going to respond, right? So now these are classic scenarios, Ben, where Conrad's going to know all of Austin's tiles. How is he going to try to strategize against that?
It's unfortunate for him because Austin has strong plays in 2 parts of the board. He can't just I don't really see that much that he can do differently here than what he would normally do. Yeah.
That's a good point. So I think maybe the best thing Conrad can do is just to take a moment, realize, you guys are saying that a Zymic is a reasonable try. I completely agree. It's also a very reasonable challenge for Conrad to make in 5-point challenge where he doesn't have to risk his turn. Later in the day, when we do the NWL chunk of the day this afternoon, you're going to see more challenges be high stakes. But if I'm Conrad, I think the first thing is I'm going to think about, does Austin actually have any bingos? And I'm going to see centrals.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have the discipline to see Ranzel's for Austin here, but I think if I did, Conrad is at this level where he easily could puzzle this out.
Yeah.
If Conrad sees that Austin's best play is Ranzel's, he needs to try to block it and maybe try to force Austin into playing centrals and exposing that S in the triple lane. So I'm not sure how he'll be able to achieve that, but that would be his goal at least.
The problem there is I think a lot of the plays that block Rangels just give better bingos back. And yes, as Alex says in the chat, Conrad's going to burn a lot of time here. I always joke that if you ever want me to go overtime, just play a phony. Just play a phony and using all your letters, and I will spend.
I'm the same way.
Doing absolutely nothing, just getting confused, and then winning a play that is very sad.
Yeah. So I just don't really know what direction to go here. One idea, I'm just trying to see, like, what could you do, right? There's no way. I was imagining maybe if Conrad plays something like Lazied, but that gives up Eternals through the E, right? What about this, right? What if you're Conrad? What if you play Lazier, knowing that Austin doesn't have a G, and maybe you'll try Lazier, right? Is that
that's funny, but I don't know about that.
I mean, you do have a slight advantage to get a G before he does, but of course, if you don't get one, then he's drawing more tiles than you are on his next turn.
It's just so slight.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. So I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, maybe he should just play Lazied anyway, just to force Eternals or Centrals and just be done with it. But I don't have a great choice for him here. All the normal plays that he would consider through the Z, as you say, they give back Sternal or Saltern or other stuff like that. So
I like Lazied. It doesn't give anything too crazy back.
Yeah, that. So it Lazied through the Z of Zymic is it gives back bingos through the E that really do not score very much at all, and it scores 32 points. Not after Conrad's next turn, he's going to equalize the score that Austin gets on his bingo. So maybe that's the way to go. But frankly, I could see him making a play that's totally off the beaten path here. Suggestions, let's see. Suggestions from the chat of just Laic and Chi. Yeah, a suggestion to just play Rallied and Zymic or Dahlier for Conrad and make him try to, get whatever Jedi mind trick into thinking that he was actually challenging Sternal, not Zymic. I don't think that ain't gonna work. Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
You dare use your own spells against me?
This is just a brutal. This is a pretty tough situation here. So, yeah. Oh, rentals under Laic. Yeah, that definitely fits. Good call, Stephen A. 17.
I think also controls.
Yeah, true.
That's not a word. Never mind.
Oh, it's not? I thought it was.
No, it's just in trawl.
Oh, right. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's the one that doesn't take the S. So, all right. This is tough. Ben's prediction is coming to pass here. If you want somebody that's normally a fast player, which Conrad is a very, very good blitz player. He plays quickly when he is able to. He's also able to slow down and think very deeply as he's doing now, but definitely he's spending an inordinate amount of time with a little bit of a gift that he's gotten from Austin of an extra turn. But isn't it amazing? Like, can you imagine how complicated Scrabble would be with, oh boy. So he's ultimately opted for a phony word of his own.
Oh, that's not a bad option, actually.
That's interesting. So this could
backfire.
So this is also going to come off. This is a crazy sequence. I was talking up the word knowledge from these players, but it makes total sense that if he's going to try this, this might be a good time to do it, because now he forces Austin to, if Austin doesn't come up with Ranzel's, which it looks like from his rack, he has, right?
Yeah,
he has come up with it.
Gonna play that, and Conrad is gonna be sad.
But if Conrad hadn't seen that, he's probably expecting centrals to come down, and then Conrad would play dialers or dalliers to the S in the triple lane. But instead, Austin is going to score extremely well without needing to open very much of anything for Conrad. And that puts Conrad in a bad scenario here, because he will not have a bingo to respond to this.
We're just back to square one.
Yeah. So this is rough, right? Because Conrad may fully have been expecting Austin with that rack would be forced to play centrals, but actually he has this other option, and now he's got a bingo through the R ready to come down. So this is just a pretty brutal start to the game for Conrad. I feel like I don't think I would have phonied in that scenario, but it makes a lot of sense why he would do it if he had any inkling that that word was valid, right? Like he's expecting either it's going to stay on the board or it gets challenged and I get my bingo to counter his. Yeah. So I like the rationale behind it, but it's just backfired on him for reasons out of his control.
And that play just shows how difficult these scenarios are when your opponent phonies and you have to think for 2 turns. Conrad probably thought he had all of his ducks in a row, but he didn't. He was like, Austin has to play centrals, and that makes sense unless if you don't think of Ranzel's, which is very easy to miss.
Yeah, that is a total next level thing to look for there on your opponent's rack. A double-double through the Z. I would be fully focused on looking for bingos on that rack. I might not even consider that there's a play like that through the Z on my opponent's rack. As you said, Ben, it's really difficult to visualize your opponent's tiles. That's one of the trickiest things about playing the end game in Scrabble as well. You track your tiles the whole game long, and in the end of the game, when there's no tiles in the bag, you theoretically should know what your opponent holds, but it's very difficult to fully visualize all the options that they have in those scenarios. It takes a lot of practice, and I don't think people get anywhere near as much practice with mid-game scenarios like this. That's why it takes so much time.
Conrad spent like a good 7 or 8 minutes there. Like, it's not like he didn't think about all this.
For sure, yeah. I mean, he was going pretty deep, and I think his play of Drazel with 2 L's, which of course not valid. I should point out that is this what he was thinking of? Oh, is my bot not working anymore? I thought that was a word, right?
I think that is a word.
Oh, okay. Let me just. Did anybody else try the bot? Oh, it did pop up earlier with the Drazel with 1 L spelling, but whatever. Let me try again and see if it's. Nope, whatever. For whatever reason, I can't get my own bot to work. Maybe you guys will still be able to do it, but wow, crazy sequence there. Sorry. While I was fiddling with the bot, we saw the bingo get blocked. Bingo through the R get blocked, and Conrad draw a blank. So that is a crazy, crazy swing. Austin's probably thinking to himself, damn, I didn't expect that to happen.
It's not the most unlikely thing in the world.
It's not. No, it's not at all. That was a good scoring spot under that A. You could see a lot of stuff be played there.
Yeah, or even just above the double word. A lot of plays go there. Now Austin has to figure out what to do.
So for whatever reason, my bot just doesn't want to say this one word, or maybe a couple other words. Anyway, we'll try to figure out what the heck's going on with that. I know there's people that have better versions of the bot. Maybe we can engineer that. Either way, yeah, this is not an easy turn for Austin either. I guess if I were Austin, I'd be certainly trying to use that H. It would be tempting to use the H alongside the C of Zymek.
Yeah.
That's a good scoring spot for it. Anything like that is pretty likely to give Conrad a nice bingo in response. So plenty of stuff for Conrad. Clarids was pointed out. Several bingos with the A, including Decryl, Radicil. So
Right now he has scleroid, which is always fun.
very nice. From the S of Ranzel's, yeah, scleroid going down. So I think it's going to be difficult for Austin to avoid getting bingoed on his next move. The question is, can he set himself up to counter with a nice leave of his own? So we'll see. This has been a really interesting game, Ben.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
This game has proceeded in a very unique way. At this level, you're not likely to see two phonies be played back to back, but I think the rationale for both of them was pretty solid.
Yeah, I would have been scared to challenge Zymek. I probably would have.
It looks so good, right?
Especially against a player of Austin's caliber.
For sure. Yeah, you're challenging it less because you expect it to come off and more because, well, I just don't recognize it. I'm sure Austin being Austin, the odds of it being a word are pretty good, especially because it's a 6-letter word, right? I feel like 6-letter words are kind of the, underappreciated for a reason group of words in the Scrabble dictionary, because typically if you can play that many letters, you're going to try to play all 7 or 8 letter words as opposed to 6. And if you can't play a bingo, you're probably going to try to play fewer letters in order to get there. So it just tends to be the case that you don't you don't see as many 6-letter words, especially ones that don't inflect up to a 7. And azymic could easily be a word that you just aren't familiar with because you don't study 6-letter words, right? Like that could be that. I think that's a reasonable thing to get mixed up on. Do you know your 6s, Ben?
No. I'm not saying mince words. No.
Oh.
Here's a Tim.
It won't let me define it because it has a bad word. That's why Drazzle is getting what really? I didn't realize that.
What's the bad word in there?
SLUT.
Oh.
I mean, that's not so bad a word, but on Twitch it is auto-modded. What is the definition of it? It is, a vagabond wench. So that's what a Drazzle is. Okay. Good to know.
I always thought of it as like a little drizzle drazzle.
Yeah. I need to just be aware of the MooBot. I don't know why. Usually I get an option to allow it, but MooBot's not even, it's ban hammering that word. So, okay, that's why. That's why we can't say that. Good to know.
Austin really in the tank here.
Yeah, this is tricky. I'm sure. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and play ho here, which is, of course, funny because we were talking about the word slut. Instead, we're seing ho be played.
He's also watching the screen, does he know?
Yeah, exactly. A word that you guys were pointing out of scleroid now plays here. Yep, there it is. Zuglia points it out. Earlier it was mentioned. I think maybe Dynamite mentioned it. So that's going to play through the E. And again, as we were saying, Conrad spent a lot of time after that first phony. I think it behooves him to try to find this as fast as he can. I would love to see him get something on the board quickly. That is the only word that plays through the E and hits both double word scores. So it is a long shot better. It looks like he spotted it here. Nicely done.
Yeah, very fast.
So as you guys are pointing out, I'm pretty sure in the UK English dictionary, scleroid takes a hook of an E, scleroid. We're going to see an E potentially go down there. I'm sure Austin knows that. And if he does, we're going to see him play toonies in that spot quickly. So we'll see. I expect him to play that for sure. But we'll find out.
That would be scary. I would take the sure thing of Mooneyist at this point.
Great comments from David Firstman. Nice to see you, David, and Dewey Seedlings about the band name of Vagabond Wench.
Needs another word in there, but yeah, it's just get one more word, and that band name is
that's a great. Tier. I think it's perfect as is, but it's a great potential band name. So all right, let's see. If Austin doesn't know this E hook, it looks like he may be prepping to play Mooneyist from the M of Zymic. That seems like what he's lined up. I think Toonies is a long shot better. Oh, man, and especially because Conrad has a pretty good rack. I know there's 8-letter words in that, I think. I think out broke is a CSW word, right?
Yeah, Mooneyist doesn't give that, but...
Yeah, that's true. You just have to be careful. Oh, but it would give Ketubot. Oh, man. So there's definitely stuff that's going to play to the triple after Mooneyist for Conrad that will not play after Toonies and Sclariad. Both players now, look at that. Austin getting pretty low as well. This could be a crazy scramble at the end of the game.
Yeah.
This is really low. Like they're getting to be under half of their time banks already with only a few words on the board and 70 unseen tiles.
Yeah, but okay, this
is a big swing here. So Toonies for 77, hooking Sclary-eyed. Mooneyist instead for 15 fewer points and exposing the triple. Conrad will have some cool options to play through this tee that he would not have had otherwise. So it's a big swing in his favor.
He would have still, just in this case, he would have still had plays making okay from Ho.
That's true. So we'll see if he spots this word that I just defined in the chat. That would be pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's if you got to be careful though where you play it, because I'm pretty sure if you play it higher up on the board, you risk your opponent eventually getting an H and drawing something massive there. So if I'm playing this word, I know there's one H on the board, but I'm definitely taking a small sacrifice here. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe I play it higher up and just hope I'm the one that draws the H. I don't know. Conrad's not going to do that. He won't do that. So.
I would have been dumb enough to put an S on it. I might have, against anyone but Austin, I might play it up there and hope my opponent puts an S on it.
As you said, though, Ben, it's really not that crazy. It's going to be weird if Conrad lets that triple lane completely stay open. But as you said, it's not that wrong to just plop your K down either, right? In that spot next to the O of Ho and the I of Sclariad. That's that leave of, BEORTU is actually kind of deceptively good. Mm-hmm. So it's not crazy to me that would be a good choice. Also, Ketubot in the more quote-unquote defensive positioning places an O in a really good scoring spot next to a triple letter score on the right side of the board. So this is tough. I mean, this is brutal because Conrad's now under 10 minutes and he has another pretty difficult decision facing him. So rough, very rough. Meanwhile, for Austin, if Conrad plays that K in that spot on top of Sclariad, Austin's going to respond with goatee instantly through the tee.
Yeah. Not the worst thing in the world for Conrad, but nice play for Austin.
So this is tricky. Keto leaving Rube. So Keto would go just through the tee. The only drawback of that is it scores significantly lower points. Excuse me.
He also
okay, he plays Butte. For 30, I didn't expect that he would leave the triple lane open, and he has indeed closed it. He also leaves his K to play in that nice spot that we were discussing earlier. I think this is a reasonable choice. A lot of the other choices we were discussing had serious flaws, so I don't mind this, except that with KOR as your leave, you're not as likely to draw bingo somewhere on your next turn, but that's okay. Conrad can be patient.
How do you feel about keeping the R there? It's 3 fewer points, but you're not opening a bingo lane there.
Interesting. Good question. I would say I like it, especially because I think the K kind of likes to be with the R too. That being said, maybe playing the R makes it easier to draw a play to the triple off of the R of Sclariad. I don't know. It's tough. I think I like Conrad's choice here. I feel like KOR has a little bit of scoring synergy. I feel like on this particular rack that he's drawn, he's going to be happy somehow that he has the R. I'm not sure where he's going to play, but we'll see.
Well, I think if Austin doesn't play there, he just has Ox and XI for next turn. That's 50 points.
Yep, just dump that X off pretty easy. And I feel like that's pretty likely to stay.
Yeah, I think Austin might just have to play Goose here.
Goose through the S of Sclariad, that seems pretty reasonable. Again, if you know, I wonder. So we've already seen from Austin playing Mooniest, right? I think it's fair to say he's not thinking about the E hook on Sclariad. I wonder if Conrad is, though. He just played off his E for Butte. There wasn't a good E play with Sclariad, and it's not very likely to matter anyway. But I do feel like Austin could play OG and Sclariad here if he wanted to as well. But he plays Goose, seems reasonable, very reasonable choice for him. Mm-hmm. And let's see how quickly Conrad is a very, very fast player when he needs to be. He's played slow this game due to circumstances sort of beyond his control. Just a weird opening to the game. Austin drawing Ethanes. Okay, he plops the X down pretty fast. 50 points, Conrad's first lead here. So Ethanes for Austin, tantalizing, but it looks like it's not actually going to fit anywhere on the board. So tough.
And that decision of Conrad playing butt instead of butter paying off big time.
Great point, right? That's a huge example of why why he plays the style he plays, right? Keeping the R was probably much less about having it be a good companion for the K and much more about preventing a new bingo lane from hitting the board. And you can see it pay dividends here. It makes a lot of sense. If you were to ask him why didn't he play butter, I'm sure he will point to this exact scenario and say, hey, Austin drew a bingo that would have fit had I played that, and it didn't fit because I didn't put that R on the board. So nice. That's how Conrad plays. He wins a lot of games that way.
It's interesting because this board looks pretty open.
It looks open, but yeah, it's going to be even all the lanes that are available. I mean, the most open thing about it is the E of Mooniest, which is really easy to hit, right? So that E is just sitting there. The E is a really good bingo tile. It's going to turn a bunch of racks that don't bingo into bingo racks. So I would be worried about that if I'm Conrad and trying to, keep my lead. But other than that, it's not that easy to hook Goose, right? You have to have a D or an S in early position. Playing alongside Goose is not that easy either. So as you say, it looks much more open than it is. And also keep in mind that Sclariad hook. Yeah, Austin could easily draw a bingo containing an E that plays there, but not think of that hook, and it won't be open to him in that case. So
if I'm Austin,
what do I do?
Yeah, maybe just exit.
You could. Yeah, that seems pretty good to set up an S, although that S, if you play exit, even that doesn't create a fully unobstructed S. If you can
Yeah.
only play things ending in an S if they also hook goose.
Also,
What about just
Finn?
What about enzymic?
Oh dear.
That scores a stunning. That scores 24 points, right? Like it doesn't hit anything, but it scores 24 points and it leaves decent bingo tiles too. It's kind of a surprisingly good like score and leave play here.
Yeah, I
Oddly.
think it's a pretty good play. Austin looking at Thane, Thegn.
That's reasonable as well. That scores decently through the G to the triple. The only issue with it is he's so close to a bingo rack
Yeah,
here. It hurts to give up all. It hurts to play 4 tiles here because every subsequent tile that you use up after the first 1 or 2 starts to take you really potentially far away from getting that bingo down. So I wouldn't mind that play to play Thane through the G of goose. But if I could play shorter, I would be trying to do that. Frankly, I would be playing EH and Sclary-eyed here. Right? Like that would be great. Leaving ANTES and setting up a good S hook for yourself. I think that would be my choice. But it doesn't feel like he's thinking about that. Okay, play of henge. That seems reasonable. It does use up both E's. There actually are not that many E's left to draw. A bunch of them have hit the board here. So, but he does manage to draw one. Wow, postage.
yep. And Gestapo in another spot, parallel to butt.
Wow, very nice. So for sure, a bingo will be coming down for Austin next turn. And with his play of henge, he takes a narrow lead that's soon to be bigger after he bingos. So, wow, big swing. This is going to be a big turn for Conrad. Amazingly, he has more time than Austin. Actually, both of these players are tremendously gifted at Blitz Scrabble, so I'm not that worried that they're going to completely melt down with this little time on their clocks. But this is really time pressure, inducing.
Yeah.
Here. Like they're already into that danger zone for sure. So we'll see how that manifests itself. This has been a crazy game.
Yeah. I sure picked the right time to come on stream.
Yeah, you've gotten no shortage of fun games here.
First one was a stinker, but
true. But it's Dave Wiegand scoring almost 600 points, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's true.
But still, I agree.
My brain is fried just from watching these games.
Yeah. Sidewinder. Okay, we'll explain that. All right, Conrad plays worker through that E. So now there's a total different E on the other side of the board in henge. So this is less about blocking the E and more about just using as many of those high point consonants as he can. Well, here comes Gestapo here. So worker for Conrad, Gestapo quickly for Austin. And that's going to score a lot of points and give him a 61-point lead. Big draw for Conrad here. Big draw for both players. Oh, man, I thought he was going to draw P-foul. But unfortunately not. But that's okay. Conrad's going to have his pick of some high scoring plays like flow in that upper. It looks like he's getting ready to play. Oh no, he's just alphabetizing. But wow, look at Austin's rack. He's drawn the second blank. He's already up 60. So Austin in pretty good shape here in this game with that draw.
Yeah, I would say so.
So yeah,
you just have to fire off flow here.
Yeah, I think flow is very likely to come down. It is worth noting that is the last O. I don't think he's necessarily going to care about that, but if he wanted to play flaw, he would never duplicate that O, whereas there's 5 A's to come. So we'll see if he draws more A's here.
Is there a triple through this F?
Doesn't seem that likely. It doesn't seem likely that there are many bingos at all with this kind of particular group of letters. The J and the G in particular, not exactly the right combination. But Austin is still going to be happy with this draw for sure. Whereas Conrad just really got hosed on his own draw. He drew, what was it? He had, I think, DAP, so he drew IRUU, not what he needs.
No, I think Austin just had to keep it simple here. He just played Jag.
He could play, so are you saying he should play Jag on top of Ranzel's, or
That's what I was looking at.
Jag with two G's to the G of Gestapo? Also a suggestion of Jaggy burning the blank through the G could be reasonable here. I think I do like holding on to the blank.
I agree.
Just because now there's actually a bunch of options here. The lane underneath Gestapo extending to the right side of the board, as well as the E of Henge, makes me want to keep that blank a little bit more. To say nothing of the F, right? Like you could always just draw that devastating finishing blow through the F of flow if you get lucky enough. So let's see what Austin does. Again, both players, the clock's ticking on him. Okay, that's what you thought, Ben, that you kind of like this play?
Yeah, not fancy, but I think you're just so likely to draw a bingo here that you want to do something like that.
Yeah, I think I agree. So not that I would have quibbled terribly much with some of the other suggestions you guys are saying. Yeah, sorry, Sidewinder, not to. I forced Alex to give you that recap, but yeah, very crazy start to the game for sure. So. All right, Conrad's in a brutal spot here. He's got really, really weak letters. It's going to be very difficult for him to use both of his U's here. He has no time to really think much about it.
I don't think he's drawn an E since he played butt.
True, yeah. Well, I guess he hasn't drawn an E since that time.
Like
That's a great point.
If you see Sclery-eyed and Austin doesn't, that's got to be painful.
It's hard to know. I guess I would probably know after Mooneyist, right? Like you would see that pretty quickly, that if he saw Sclery-eyed, maybe that's what Conrad is going to pin his hopes on, is that he can draw an E. But of course, Austin has two of the three remaining E's and the blank. And yeah, it's just not, it's not what he needs here. So yeah, you guys are pointing out evident. I guess there's also, amazingly, from Austin's perspective, Servient. Nice spot of that in the chat there. So Servient from the S of Mooneyist scores a boatload of points, and it doesn't even take an S hook. It's an adjective meaning, subservient. So
David, how do you know that? That's Collins.
How do I know it doesn't take an S?
No, I was thinking David in the chat.
True, that's a good point. But hey, it's a good call out for sure. So yeah, Conrad's taking his time here. He's trying to come up with a play that makes him feel optimistic at all, and there really is no play that achieves that here. So just a tough scenario. So he's going to get hit with a bingo, and that is very likely to be the fatal blow to his winning chances here. Yeah. Though, maybe if he somehow doesn't play through the F of flow and plays something else somewhere on the board, and Austin plays a bingo that doesn't block, which he's not going to, maybe there's a 1 in a million chance Conrad draws something huge there. So what's he going to do? He's going to play Pud. Probably trying to draw for that last S. I don't know, get a few points while he's at it, use one of the U's. It seems like, I don't really have a better idea than that. So
it's a brutal spot.
It is. So what will Austin do? He sees his highest scoring bingo. Conrad sees that blank. He's also drawn pretty poorly again.
Austin wasting no time.
Yeah, as he ought not. So down comes Servient for 89. He's going to really ratchet that lead up pretty huge.
Oh, this isn't over.
Oh, my God. I didn't even see that. Holy crap. That's crazy. Horrified for 90 gets Conrad pretty close. If he draws a little bit better than Austin, which actually Austin's drawn really well. Austin's drawn tremendously well. He's going to play varietal to the L of flow. I can't believe that. Oh, that's brutal. So there's enough tiles in the bag that Austin has to at least think here, but he's just picked a pretty improbable bingo right out of the bag. He spots it immediately. Not sure if Conrad's I think Conrad is just waiting for Austin to finish his draw because they both just played so fast. I think varietal is pretty likely to get the job done. Unless I guess that last S is still lurking. Maybe Conrad can somehow draw an S bingo hooking ED, and that would catch Austin with a rack full of tiles. Is that possible? It doesn't look like it's in the cards. So you can see the in the top right, you can see the tiles listing there. So this is from Austin's perspective. 13 tiles unseen. That means 6 are in the bag. So if Austin were to bingo here and Conrad had a counter bingo, it's possible that it's because Austin's bingo is only going to score 65. So if Conrad had a higher scoring bingo that caught Austin with 6 heavy tiles on his rack, Conrad could still win after varietal. That's not what's going to happen here, though. Oof. Yeah, look at him. You see Conrad nodding, shaking that head like, oh man, are you kidding me? Like, what can he do? But well played and well spotted to Austin for finding the bingo.
Yeah, it all comes down to that one turn, seems.
Well, which turn? Because there were a lot.
Well, the turn where Conrad played Drazzle.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was
a brutal turn.
That was an extremely brutal turn. In Conrad's defense, I liked his rationale for that. And throughout the rest of the game, I don't think he really made a misstep with his low time, right? Like, he took a ton of time to think about it. And sometimes you pay the price for that with your moves getting less accurate down the stretch of the game. I don't think that happened for Conrad here. So I think just tough. And obviously Austin getting the good news that last S is not on Conrad's rack, so he can rest pretty easy here.
Yeah, he can breathe here. Conrad not drawing an E.
True. Yeah, the E count a little lopsided here. I think something like 10 to 2. Oh, what? I know. Well, he played Butte and Scleriad, so there's 2, right?
Oh, there you go.
I think 10 to 2 though. That's quite lopsided for sure. So, I mean, there are many ways that you can break down, how well you draw in a game of Scrabble. Obviously, we fixate on the blanks. The blanks are the key tile in any game, most correlated with winning chances. But then we love the S, right? We want to draw the S's, but don't discount that the E when it's a big imbalance for one player to another. That's tough to overcome as well. What would you rather have? A game where you get double blanked but draw 2 S's and 6 E's? Or a game where you split blanks and draw, I don't know, let's say all the S's but only 2 E's?
I couldn't process all of that. That's
whatever. Yeah, I realized as I was asking the question that it was nonsense. So so don't worry.
Well, the problem is, if I draw 6 E's, my opponent also drew 6 E's and 2 S's, and they had 2 blanks, so I'm probably losing.
Yeah, good point. So Conrad playing Yaba. He's got 9 seconds left. He cuts the gap a little bit, but Austin will be able to do any number of things. He can just play something like middies at the base of the board and be fine. So very interesting. Just an interesting game all around. The early portion of the game was fascinating. You really do not see that very much with players at this level. 2 plays in a row that are both invalid words challenged off. We could probably play a match between these 2 players of 30 games, and that might only happen one time. So
always fun when it happened. Just a lot to talk about, a lot to think about.
Standings coming up. So we do have the standings. So the division we're watching now is the CSW one this afternoon. We'll have more. 4-ply sim preferred Lazier. Yeah, I think that's probably because Lazier forces Eternals and it gives Conrad the ever so slight advantage to draw the G first and play Glazier. That being said, that's not that compelling to me, right? Like it's
but it's also just 30. It's also just 30 points.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's
you don't really give anything better to Austin,
right? That's probably mostly because there's just no option that actually blocks anything there. All right, Conrad plays ton at the base of the board after mine. Oh, he does play middies, does Austin. Conrad plays ton at the base of the board to go out. That was his highest scoring area. And the final score, 507 to Austin to 448 for Conrad. A lot of points being scored in this game. Both players are, Austin's like, oh, man, that's a relief to come away with the win there. Conrad's gesticulating. There's a lot to discuss here. A lot to discuss. All right, let's resolve this prediction here.
Austin going to improve to 2-1. Conrad going to fall to 2-1.
So Austin, the winner of this game here. And let me just see. I just want to quickly shout out also, while we're watching Austin, who is just a phenomenal player in his own right. What is the command? Okay, I have it here. So if you're watching this game and saying, damn, where can I check out more of Austin? I think this is it. There we go. So you can follow Austin's Twitch channel. He's been streaming a lot. He's doing a great job. It's fun to watch him play. Is there another prediction here? Oh, no, it's just showing the result of the last one. So yeah, Austin's streaming a bit. You can watch him more. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure we're going to see more of him on the stream over the course of this broadcast. So, wow, that was a pretty epic game. This was an epic
another one.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing this game was missing was the possibility of playing Zygosity. We just needed that. So yeah, you got one more, Ben. You got it. You have to, get us to one. What's happening here with this? Oh, Conrad's potentially basically said, "Oh, is there a sign that we should be?" Was there writing on that? I didn't see.
No, I think he was just covering off the board. Maybe.
Yeah, like don't. Yeah, I thought when he did that, what he was saying was basically like, "Don't look at this. I don't want you to look at this." Kiddingly.
Yeah.
So.
Ranzel's gonna hunt him for probably a little while.
Drazzle was intentional. I missed Ranzel's. Yeah, and that's completely reasonable there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Amper Roaster, for that.
Thank you, Conrad, for giving us your rationale.
I think it made total sense, right? Like, and we sort of constructed that during the game.
Yeah, that's basically what we figured.
So it made complete sense in the moment why he would have elected to do that, expecting that. The nice thing about Drazzle with 2 L's is that it held one tile in reserve, and therefore Austin could not know for sure what that 7th tile was on Conrad's rack. It would motivate Austin to go ahead and play centrals,
Yeah.
right? Not knowing for sure that Conrad didn't have a bingo, because if he did,
Though I feel like Austin would probably figure out that player Conrad's caliber would know, like, yeah, I'm phoning here on purpose.
yeah, true.
Oh man, it's just way too much to discuss about that play.
Yeah, it's a lot. And check out the next matchup from Katsukinder, our producer in the chat, says Conrad versus Dave Wiegand coming up next. Oh boy! All right, so maybe we'll take a little break. I think we have to recuperate a little bit before this next game, which has a chance to be pretty amazing if the first few are any indication. Yeah, I think, I don't know, definitely a good idea to get up, stand up, take a few, walks around. Is there, I mean, what is it, Ben, in your estimation, when you're sitting at these tournaments playing on board 1 for a long time, do you feel like it's extra draining to be in that scenario?
Well, you have to reach further to make the play sometimes on board 1 because the blacks are glued down.
True.
So that could tire you out if you're not tall. Shout out to you and
extra typo privilege manifesting itself yet again. Doesn't have to worry about reaching on these annotated games. But either way, let's take a little break. And it sounds like we've got an epic matchup coming up in just a moment in round 4 at the Crescent City Cup 2023.